This video tutorial is going to show you a little bit about how to get an image from one of the free stock image places we're going to be using this semester, import it into Canva, and then do a little bit of editing in Canva. I'm not going to show you too much because there are wonderful Canva tutorials out there that I will provide you with links for. And also, the more you experiment with it, the more you're going to learn on your own. All right, so let's get started here. We're going to be using this Pixabay. There are many free stock image sites. A lot of them require you to put in a credit card ahead of time, so be aware of that. I'm not asking you to do that. You should not do that at all. This one does not ask you to do that. So that's one of the reasons why I advocate for it. The way that this works is you'll put in a little search term for something that you're interested in. So for example, I've been looking for vintage cameras. I can put in a link for search for vintage camera, and I'll press return, and here we go. We get some things with vintage cameras. Now you will notice that some of the images you will come across have these gray and off gray, lighter gray, even lighter gray squares or white squares. This indicates that it is a transparent image. A transparent image is useful because it will allow you to just have the outline of the graphic or the photo or the image on any background color that you want. So this image here could appear in yellow or green or orange or purple, and you won't just see a box, you'll actually see just the graphic around it. Other photographs here, you would have to incorporate the whole thing into it, which, you know, depending on what you're trying to do on your page, can be problematic, or it could work out just fine. If you want to try to find something that's going to be transparent, you can pop the word transparent into the search. And you have to spell it correctly. And then you will get, here's a transparent image, here's one over here that I've used, here's another one right here. There are fewer transparent images, and they're usually PNGs. But regardless of what you decide to do, you could just sort of go through and say, okay, I want to grab a particular image, one image or another. I'm going to take this one here. I'll click on it. And you'll see just here on the side, there's actually a direct link to Canva to edit. I don't recommend doing that because you're just going to have to copy and paste it into a different location in Canva anyway. So I would click on the download button, and I choose one that's a little bit more robust, a little bit bigger. You don't have to go the giant, but over here, click download. And it will download and go into your downloads folder. You can see here. You will get a pop-up menu to say thanks to the creator. You don't need to thank them. You can just close that down. One thing I do want to point out is that there is a content license that the creator has provided, and that will give you an idea of how you are able to utilize this image and what you're not allowed to do with it. So for example, they can't distribute the content. You can't use the content for commercial purposes in any immoral or illegal way, for a misleading or deceptive way. And so you just have to follow their guidelines and be upfront or upstanding about following their guidelines. Since we're doing this for educational purposes, we can go ahead and use it since we're not using it for any commercial reason. So I'm going to now go over to Canva, and this is my projects page. I strongly recommend when you get here that you hover over the current version of the project you've been working on and you make a copy. All right, and here's the copy. It always gives you this little graphic until the image appears. You make a copy of it, and then you can open the copy. The reason why we create a copy is so that we're not overwriting the original. That will stay there because you might make multiple versions of this particular poster or that you're working on. Okay, For some reason my thing switched. Pop that up like that. One thing I'd like you to do is name your project. So here, this is just going to be a sample project, so I'm naming it that, but name it something that will be meaningful for you. Like I called one a black poster, yellow poster, white poster. We just don't, it just is much nicer to have a meaningful title. So to upload your image, you will see an uploads icon right here. And you can click upload files. And the image, if you go to your downloads folder, do that, move that out of the way, click open. And you will see that the image appears, click on it, and now it will appear in your poster. Okay. Now we do want to make sure that we are utilizing, we are utilizing the rulers and grids. So we have that all laid out for us. This you can expand to make it as large as you would like. So if you wanted something really big, you could do that. One of the amazing things about Canva is that you don't lose, you typically don't lose any resolution when you're doing this. You can also crop the image. To crop the image, you double click very quickly on it, and you get these hard border outlines, and you can just drag down to crop what you want. If you want to crop it in, you can do that. And then you double click on it again, and now we've just got this image right here, like that. Now you'll see when, let me make this a little bit bigger for you. There are some tools in here that you'll be able to utilize once you have, oops, the wrong thing. Close that down. You'll see that you can, there are a couple things I'll show you real quick relating to this image. You can add a transparency in here so you can have it fade into the background, which is what I've done on a couple of my examples that I've shown you. One thing I want to show you is about layering. I want you to envision when you're working in these documents that you're actually putting things on a piece of paper on a table, and you're stacking different elements on top of one another vertically in that sort of format. We can do that in here as well. So for example, right now, this photograph is, I can right click on it and I can say send to back. And if I do that, other elements will appear on top of it. If I right click and I say bring to front, you could see now that it is on top of some of those other elements. Let's get that full transparency there so nothing shines through. So you can see how now the layers are different. If I want this to go behind again, I'll right click on it and I'll say send to back, and the text boxes are now on top of it, and I can move them around and whatnot. So thinking about not just the positioning on the page, but how things are layered will allow you to be able to move things around and create a more nuanced design. And you can, when you click on these elements, you can either click up here and you can do layer, or you can sort of right click on it and send it back. I do want to show you one thing relating to the Adobe Color Wheel for your pictures. You can extract a theme from an image that you have. So you can select a file, and I'll choose this one, and it will upload it, and it goes through and it looks at your colors in your picture, and it gives you a theme based on that. So if you have a very colorful image, and you could save this, you could screenshot it, write everything down. You could change these based on what you're interested in over here. Let me find a more colorful picture, and I can show you how that works too. So here, this is the SJU Community Garden that I'm director of, a picture from a while ago. And you can see that it's pulling out different colors from inside of there. If you want to change bright or muted or deep or dark or theme, you can. Adobe Color Wheel will help you extract some of those colors, and then you can drag them around too and say, okay, now I want that one, I want that, and these colors will now complement the photograph that you choose for your particular site or the graphic that you particularly use. So that might help you a little bit with your color scheme, since perhaps the color scheme that you've created so far is not going to work completely for you. So that's how we get images into the page and how we play around with them a little bit. You know, there's all sorts of stuff. You can rotate them. You can stretch them really, really big. Like so. Like this is sort of what I did for the yellow one. And I made it, like this is more of a graphic. Put it behind the scenes. The black one, again, I made it really large in there. This white one, which is quite frankly not a really great poster, I've got 3 images that I placed in here like that. So and I also have a graphic from in the elements section. I did a search for film, and I got a little film strip, and I put that on an angle and I turned it red. So there are lots of different options that you've got for images. So I hope that was helpful, and I'm looking forward to see your designs. See ya.